Hey everyone, I hope you're well. Today I'm going to be going through all of the game modes from the very beginning right up till basically yesterday. Now this video is going to be useful for two reasons. One, if you didn't get a chance to play some of the earlier game modes, you can take a look at what they were like, such as solos or third person mode. And two, if you did play these game modes, then I'm about to unlock some memories for you. We're going to go on a bit of a nostalgia trip because there's going to be parts of the map that you forgot about, parts of the loading screens and lobbies that you may have forgot about, and just a bunch of cool stuff, and hopefully I can bring back some good nostalgic happy gaming moments. So let's get into the list. The very first game mode was Apex Elite Queue. This was sort of like ranked beta in a way. To get into the Elite Queue, you had to place top 5 in a normal queue match. And once you did that, you'd unlock the Elite Queue the next game. Every time you got a top 5, you would be able to stay in the Elite Queue, and you'd be able to keep your streak going to the point where some people had like 100 plus streaks of staying in the Elite Queue because they kept getting top 5 placements, and you would get a badge that would showcase how many Elite Queue games you had in a row, and it was really awesome. Now if you didn't make top 5, then you'd have one final chance, and then the next time you play Elite Queue, if you didn't get top 5 again, you would be pushed back to the normal queue. Next up we had solos mode. Solo mode is pretty straightforward. It's just solos. There would be a ton of Pathfinders and a ton of Corsairs in this mode. It was really weird to play. It did feel strange. I actually do agree with the devs. I think team-based play is better, and that's why they haven't brought it back. And I think duos is perfect. I'd rather solo versus 2 people than solo versus a solo. I just think people play really straight in this mode. It seems like something you'd want, but I don't know. That's my personal opinion. For other people that did play it, what do you think? Next we had Armed and Dangerous. Now this game mode has come about a lot. The first time was in Season 2, before we had the Charge Rifle. Now Armed and Dangerous was a game mode where you had shotguns and snipers only. Now bear in mind, when the Charge Rifle launched, it kind of changed up. The meta for this game mode just basically meant everyone ran around with charge rifles, and it was kind of annoying. Charge rifles on triple takes and set at long range. But the Season 2 Armed and Dangerous mode was the best. There were no charge rifles yet. People weren't really using the triple take much. We're getting a lot of up close shotgun battles. It was a lot of fun. I really liked it. I got a crazy like 22 game where I got like 17 kills with a Mozambique, which is really awesome. One of my favorite moments in the game for sure. Then we had Shadowfall. Now you may remember the Shadow Royale game mode recently, but Shadowfall was a little different. Essentially everyone would start the game as a legend, and if you died you would come back as a shadow. And basically as the game progressed, the focus of the game wasn't to fight other legends, it was to try and survive. And as the number of shadows increased, the shadows had to try and hunt down the remaining legends. So it was basically shadows versus legends, where you could have like a few legends left and 20 plus shadows, or if people didn't quit the game, like up to like 40 or 50 shadows. But the unfortunate thing is most people just quit the game as soon as they turned shadows, and that's why they changed the game mode to kind of make it a bit different in the future, and I'll talk about the updated version soon. But when you did get a game where there were waves upon waves of shadows coming in, and you were like a few lone legends trying to survive, waiting for the dropship to come in that would allow you to win the game, it was super fun. Next we had Winter Express. This was like a round-based game mode. You land down, you'd have to stay on the train when nobody else was on it to capture it, or be the remaining squad alive to win a round. First of 3 rounds wins. It was really fun, a really good way to kind of practice your aim and just warm up. And I hope they bring more deathmatch style games like this in the future. Now we had Gold Rush. Gold Rush was basically just golden weapons, the care package weapons, and that's it. And it was in duos mode. It was really fun. You could just get a bunch of Krabers and stuff. As you can see here, I'm just running around with Gibraltar. We had some good fun for sure. Then we had Live.Die.Live. Live.Die.Live was interesting. Sometimes it was good, sometimes it was kind of meh. Basically, in this game mode, when you died, you could respawn when the next ring came in. So sometimes you'd have crazy endgame rings where there were so many people just respawning again and coming down and causing carnage. But if your whole team died, then you wouldn't be able to respawn. So there were some crazy carnage moments where they have like 15 people landing late game. Some people got crazy amounts of kills because they just kept killing people as they landed down. Pretty fun game mode overall. Then we had third person mode. It came into the game for just 2 days and we've never seen it again. I don't really know why. I thought it was pretty cool, honestly. I thought it was quite fun to just run around in third person, see your skins, just see what the game felt like. It didn't really feel like Apex in a way, but it felt interesting and fun to me. I guess Respawn didn't really like it, or maybe it didn't see a very good response from the player base, because unlike a lot of the other game modes that I'm going to be talking about next, it's never come back. Next we have Always Be Closing. You land down, and as it suggests in the name, the ring is always closing, and it kind of means that you have to constantly be in the move, and by the late game you'll usually have like a decent amount of squads in the final ring. It was absolute carnage. Then we had King's Canyon After Dark. Very simple, just King's Canyon at night time. We had some interesting decorations around there, and we had Skull Town, so it allowed us to play Skull Town past Season 5, which is basically the highlight for me personally. Dummies Big Day is another game mode that came out. You play as dummies, there were no voice lines or pings, it sounded eerily quiet, and they had special abilities. One ability, the tactical, allowed you to spawn items, and the ultimate would be a random mixture of things. You could either create a healing circle that would heal anybody in the circle. You'd have the emergency dance party, which was what later became Mirage's ultimate that we know today, and I think there was another one which spawned a bunch of loot on the floor. Then we had Deja Loot. This game mode is kind of interesting. Each day that it ran, the loot would spawn in specific locations, and the ring was exactly the same as well. So you could get like a drop that you like and a route that you like and rinse and repeat. And it meant that like you could, if you learnt the spawns, you would know where like the golden sniper is or where the mastiff is or something like that, and you could just run and get some really fun games. Obviously after a while it got a bit repetitive because it was the same thing over and over again. We also had a bunch of like evolved versions where they added Evo shields or respawns only through the mobile respawn beacon for Armed and Dangerous, Live.Die.Live and Gold Rush I believe, and also Always Been Closing. These kind of game modes have come back multiple times now. Of course we had the PVE Quest, which I would consider a game mode. You'd fight waves of prowlers. It was a very short mission each week, and then you would capture this artifact and take it back to the main screen and then take part in sort of this dialogue that would happen. It was my favourite quest to date, and I really hope they do more PvE in the future. Then we had Flashpoint. It was like a normal game of Apex, but we'd have these Flashpoint areas over points of interest where when you're in these areas you'd heal faster or passively over time. It's sort of like these fun engagement moments. It was interesting for sure. I didn't really like it that much personally. Some other people did like it though. Next we had Shadow Royale. Now Shadow Royale was different to the Shadowfall mode. In Shadow Royale, everyone stayed on the same team regardless of if you died. It was still a typical Battle Royale game, so one squad would win instead of it being Shadows versus Legends. But if someone on your team died, they'd turn into a shadow and they could respawn indefinitely and help you. So you'd have these battles basically like where you'd have a couple shadows on your team and you'll be the last standing legend on your team. It's pretty interesting, fun game mode. You could like spawn in pet prowlers. They would just randomly spawn on your team sometimes, and they added wall running to the shadows, which is a bit fun but a bit janky on King's Canyon, but overall pretty fun. It was a lot more balanced. People didn't quit as much, so that's great, but I did prefer Shadowfall when people didn't quit. And then finally we had Airdrop Escalation, where each ring that the map had would have different tiers of airdrop loot. So to begin with, you'd have airdrop loot with rare items, with all rare attachments, all of the way up to gold items with all gold attachments, and the final ring would be heirloom armor and heirloom weapons. Pretty awesome. So that's it. That's the full list of game modes that have come to this game. Perhaps not as expansive as some other games, but looking back, there's definitely a decent list. I'd definitely like to see some of these game modes added back in the future. What are your thoughts? Did you enjoy this video? Let me know. I'll see you in the comments. Cheerio!